Hi, this is Ben. I'm going to complete day 16 of Wes Boss's JavaScript 30. Today's exercise is to use JavaScript to update the value of text shadow for that big word whoa. And when I do, we're going to be able to move that text shadow around the screen, almost as if it's following the mouse. So let's get started. The first thing I did was grab the DOM elements that I'll need and add to one of the DOM elements this event listener called mouse move. So that'll get triggered anytime the mouse moves across the screen, and it will invoke this function make shadow. The first thing I need to do inside the function is get the height and width of the event listener. So I'll do that by destructuring, and I'll say const. The first value is going to come from offset width. And we'll call this variable width. The second value will come from offset height. And we'll call that variable height. And I'm going to get that value from hero. Next thing I need to do is get the coordinates of the event trigger. In other words, wherever the mouse is on the screen. And I'm going to use let because I'll need to update these variables in just a second. Again, I'm going to destructure, so I'm going to get the value of offset x, and we'll save that to a variable called x, get the value of offset y, and save that to a variable of y. And where is that coordinate going to be? Well, it's going to be wherever the event is, so we'll just say event. Now, I want to, the next two things I need to do is if the event trigger is not the event listener, because the event listener is just the word whoa. But the event trigger could be anything on the page when the mouse moves. So if the event trigger is not the event listener, then I'm going to update the values of the coordinates to include the coordinate of the event trigger. That's a little bit wordy, and we're about to do some arithmetic, so hang with me here. So the first thing is if this, which is whatever triggered the event, is not the event listener, which is event.target, then we're going to update the value of x to include the event target offset, so eTarget.offset left, and then we'll update the value of the y coordinate to include y plus e.target.offset top. So that'll get us the updated x and y coordinates, and let me console log x and y before and after the if statement, and maybe that'll make it a little bit clearer why we added that bit of math. So we'll say x and y, console.log x and y. We'll go over here, we'll refresh. So you'll see that I have all of the coordinates where the mouse is at. But if I go over here, oh, that's weird. That should be, oh, there you go. So you see this sort of difference in the values. And one of the console.logs is happening before I do the math, and then the other console.log is happening after I did the math. So here's why we did the math, basically. We just want to we want to include in the value of the coordinates the height and the width of the actual event listener. So with that being done, let's go ahead and complete the last couple of steps. So calculate the values of the horizontal and vertical shadows. So we'll say const xwalk is equal to math.round. And we'll say whatever x is, we'll divide it by the width, and then we'll multiply that by walk, and then we will subtract walk divided by 2. And we're going to do the same thing for the y-axis. So const y walk is equal to math.round, and that's going to be y divided by height. We'll multiply that by the walk, and then we'll subtract the walk divided by 2. And that's because walk is basically a range, and I want to, how do I want to put this? Well, I don't want the values of walk to extend from, say, 100 to negative 100. I want 100 to represent the value of the range. So really I want walk to go from, say, positive 50 to negative 50. So this is why we're dividing by 2 here at the end. So now that I have the values that I need to add those values to the CSS of text. So I'll take text, I'll say style to get to the CSS, and then we're going to update text shadow. Shadow takes 4 values. The first is going to be the horizontal shadow. I'm just getting my thoughts correct here. So we'll say xwalk, and that is in pixels. The second value is the vertical shadow, and that will be defined as ywalk pixels. The third value is optional. It defines the blur if you'd like to add blur. And then the fourth value is the color of the text shadow. So barring any mistakes, this ought to get us where we want to go. So let me see if that happened. We'll go to starter. And then here we go. As it moves around, or as the cursor moves around, so does the text shadow. So that is today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow.